Close your eyes for a moment and go back to your childhood. That moment when everything seemed lost and Goku helped his son defeat the most terrifying villain we had ever seen. I remember how it all seemed to end there with our protagonist dead and Gohan taking care of her. But now, let's fast forward a few days. You come back from school, run to turn on the TV to see how this story continues, but you don't hear the iconic opening you already knew. Instead, you hear this. A new opening that no longer focuses on Goku, but on Goten, Gohan and Trunks, indicating that now the weight of the earth and the spotlight on this arc are in their hands. Memories of the battle against Cell are covered by a dark cloud that fades away like a bad memory. Gohan's development is reflected in his glasses, showing that he is now a man with new characters. This happens because the Buu Saga wanted to show that, after so many battles, the Earth could be safe and its inhabitants could live in peace. That's why the saga starts with Gohan's everyday life, with that sense of adventure that this story had in its origins. But for the fans and Shonen Jump, they didn't like it at all, so they told Toriyama to give them more violence, more fights and more transformations, or they were going to fire him. Because of this, many things that happened were not well thought out. But even so, it's my favorite saga. That's why today I'm here to talk in defense of the Buu Saga. Guys, I don't know if you remember, but Dragon Ball started as an adventure story about a boy with a monkey tail and his friends searching for magical spheres that could grant wishes. A simple but entertaining premise, well seasoned with doses of Toriyama's famous humor of the time, which regardless of how it looks today worked back then. Later it evolved into this festival of fights, aliens, transformation and static shots. Toriyama realized he was very good at creating fights and that people enjoyed them. He probably didn't expect his work to be consumed entirely by that. We still had excellent moments of tension, like the Saiyan saga, where Goku faces his brother and we didn't know if Goku could make it in time, or if he did, how many more could have to die before that happened. Or incredible villains like Frieza, who is simply the most intimidating and sadistic character ever written in this work. But at the start of the Buu Saga, there was an attempt to return to the feeling of freedom and adventure with something as simple yet interesting as Gohan going to school. Someone who throughout his life had been involved in fights, despite hating having to fight, now seems socializing with normal kids his age. And I really liked this, especially because of the back and forth he had with Videl, who was trying to discover his secret identity, while Gohan played the superhero, who was also slightly inspired by Piccolo, his mentor in the Cell saga, and the Ginyu Force. This makes me think that while they were on Namek about to die, Gohan watched these guys doing weird choreographies and thought to himself, wow, this is cool, man. It's also original to the anime, since in the manga Videl discovered Gohan's identity very quickly, which I think is a waste, and something the animation handled much better. The thing is, this is a mini arc that's much more relaxed and fun compared to the extreme tension we had been seeing with the planet about to be destroyed over and over again. In fact, I really appreciate that a work tries to return to its roots after so much time, and before anyone says this was just filler, well, I don't see the problem. If it contributes something and doesn't hinder the narrative, in this case it strengthens the relationship with Gohan and Videl, making everything feel more organic, while also providing fun moments along the way. Filler is when Naruto does the Rasengan just to prepare ramen, or when One Piece drags out scenes to avoid animating, because they are lazy. Sometimes that also happens in Dragon Ball, but here they create tension moments that are superior. So going back, just because this part has filler doesn't automatically make it bad. We have to understand that a manga has its own canon, and its animated version has a different canon that only answers to itself. Even the movies can have their own canon. The best example is when some thieves steal the baby from one of the dinosaurs Gohan used to play with as a kid. Original only to toy animations, they use an element that is canonical only in the series for one episode, and that's also the reason Vidal ends up discovering the identity of the Great Saiyan Man. We move on to the martial arts tournament arc, where Gohan has to train with Goten because, as Vegeta says later, his power has not increased at all over the years since he never kept training, so he set out to do it. But there's a problem. He had promised Vidal that he would teach her to fly. And I think this is good for several reasons. By preventing Gohan from training, he maintains the same power level, so it makes sense that the upcoming fights like Zabura or Majin Buu after being released will be more difficult. Training Vidal also strengthens their relationship, making it more believable. There are even very nice details, like her cutting her hair just because he recommended it. The fact that Gohan has not trained a single day fits perfectly, because a major part of his characterization is that he was never a violent person and always hated fighting. Milk accepts without problem that her son participates in the tournament and even misses his call to train, showing how much she's changed since Goku's death. She trains with Goten, wishing her children to become strong because it's now their duty to protect the earth, and she also needs money. Let's not kid ourselves. Another very important point in this episode is discovering that both Goten and Trunks can become Super Saiyans, also giving them a small role in this training arc. Goku's reunion with his friends is very nice to watch, especially his first moment with Goten, who hadn't had a chance to know his father. I really like this scene because it's very slow and has that small moment of silence between them just before Goten runs to him. The fact that Goten looks so much like Goku emphasizes and contrasts that he's not like Gohan and more innocent, and unlike his brother, he hasn't had to fight beings capable of destroying a planet since he was a child, at least not until now. On the other hand, Trunks clearly inherits traits from his parents. He's a spoiled rich kid like Bulma, but also intelligent like his father, but still childish and immature. I really like that when he sees Goku, he doesn't think he's strong because of his cheerful, calm personality. The image of his father, harsh and never showing affection. By the way, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but Bulma starting to smoke could be due to how stressful it must be to live with someone like Vegeta and take care of Trunks. I don't know, but it seems like an unnecessarily nice detail. Continuing with the tournament, they decided to remove the preliminaries and replace them with a machine that measures your strength. By this point, the characters were already so strong that fighting normal people wouldn't make sense, unlike in the original Dragon Ball. If they had included it, literally what would happen is what we see in the kids section, where the only good fight is between Goten and Trunks, and when I say good, I mean really good. Also, Vegeta breaking the machine still makes me laugh today because it's so perfectly like Vegeta. Before fighting, the boys easily defeat the children of an angry overweight woman with Bulma and Milk mocking her. It may not seem relevant, but it becomes important later. Back to the fight, this is the first high-level battle in the saga. This confirms what was said earlier about this arc having a calmer vibe. The chemistry between these two characters is excellent. They really feel like friends in a way we don't even see in their parents. The camera work is great with some shots and sequences. I really like the choreography. The first exchange blows on the ground and in the air with a very even level. Then Trunks releases energy to impress his opponent and the crowd, but Goten's immaturity makes him replicate it. Goten gets trapped and decides to transform, not considering the repercussions for the audience. Trunks also shows some immaturity when he brags he can beat his rival without using his right arm, which ends with Goten descending at high speed to attack. When Trunks dodges, he falls into Goten's trap and decides to transform, launching energy at Goten and ending the fight with Trunks. I really like how the characters are defined through their moves and decisions in the fight, making it feel like a real fight between friends and especially like children, since they ultimately resolve things with toys. We start with Krillin fighting the big guy for comic relief, Piccolo surrendering to Kaioshin who reveals his identity, and the third fight is Beatles. Guys, obviously I don't support the unnecessary ultra-violence shown here. When the fight begins, Videl has the advantage, but there's something strange about her opponent. Vegeta and Goku's expression shows that they know, or at least sense, that something is wrong. Goku tells Gohan he shouldn't have taught Videl to fly. The fight is painful to watch, and even in the manga it's not as graphic. When Videl breaks Popovich's neck, he adjusts it himself, but in the anime he falls to the ground. They declare that Videl lost. And while G processes having just taken a life, her opponent stands up and then repositions his neck with a macabre unsettling expression. In the anime, the fight lasts much longer, making it more painful to watch and increasing the audience's frustration. That's why many of us understand Gohan clenching his fists and teeth until his rage makes him transform into a Super Saiyan. When he can't take anymore, he attacks Popovich, intending to destroy him completely, but the fights end with Videl being removed. Interestingly, in the manga, Gohan doesn't go to save Videl. He only goes once the fight is over to take her to the infirmary. I like that in the anime he wants to intervene to take revenge on Popovich because it shows how much he cares for her, as if all those episodes about the Great Saiyaman had helped him connect with Videl enough to go insane trying to save her. What I never liked was that Gohan swore revenge for this, but in the end, Popovich was destroyed by Babidi. He had a horrible death, but I still would have liked Gohan to give them what they deserved. Continuing with Gohan, his next fight is literally not a fight. Kibit invites him to use his full power, knowing that Popovich and Yamu are seeking it, while Kaioshin asks Goku and the others not to interfere. They absorb his energy and the Kaioshin lives with the Sea Warriors, where finally the concept of Majin Buu as a purely destructive demonic entity is introduced. With everyone now on the same page, they decide to help defeat Babidi and head to his spaceship, where Vegeta and Goku have relatively easy fights, since neither Kaioshin nor Babidi has any idea of the Saiyan's power. It's as as if the story itself acknowledges that the characters are already very powerful at this point. Meanwhile, the tournament is resolved with the Battle Royale, which quickly narrows down to Goten and Trunks versus Android 18. This fight is fun and doesn't take itself too seriously. The kids even switch places twice inside the costume, and I think it makes sense because any other Sea Warrior would have sensed the kid's key and easily discovered then Android 18. However, cannot sense key nor can G feel their energy. Still, everything becomes obvious once they transfer into Super Saiyans, so the kids end up fleeing to where their parents. The third fight is Gohan versus the Demon King Dabura, and it's quite unique. While they are fairly evenly matched, it's clear that the demon has more control of the situation. In Goku's words, Dabura was as strong as Cell but slightly increased his power before the fight. According to Vegeta, Gohan is weaker than he was during the battle with Cell. While Gohan fights, Vegeta becomes frustrated and angry because the Earth's peace has made Gohan weak. He forgot how to fight, doesn't honor his race, and it's only delaying Vegeta's fight with Goku, which is the only reason he's there. Vegeta gets to the point where he could have finished Dabura himself if Goku had not stopped him, and Dabura sensed the darkness in his heart, abandoning him so that Babidi can take control of the prince. After succumbing to mind control, Vegeta and the others are transported to the tournament as if there were unfinished business to resolve there. To prove he's now willing to do everything without remorse, Vegeta kills hundreds of people with a smile on his face as if the old Vegeta had returned. Realizing this can only end one way, Goku agrees to fight his old rival, and even if the Supreme God intervenes, nothing will stop them. It's as if this is something bigger than him, as if not even the highest deity could stand in the weight of two men who only understand each other in one way. The same happens when Babidi orders Vegeta to kill the god, but he refuses, rejecting the higher power controlling him, because here only one thing matters. The fight is excellent. You can feel how with each blow Vegeta unleashes everything he has held inside for years, while Goku, who initially seems to hold back, gradually starts giving his all, even enjoying it, as if nothing else matters. It feels like watching two Saiyans do what they do best, fight with all their heart. The best part is when Vegeta breaks his pride and admits he lets Babidi control him so that his evil side could emerge again, feeling ashamed of himself for becoming one of the warriors protecting Earth instead of wanting to destroy it, for falling in love and even forming a family. Vegeta only wanted
just wanted to go back to being the person I was before! I wanted to go back to being the cold-blooded Saiyan I'd been in the beginning, the one who didn't care about anything except besting you in one-on-one.
At that moment, Majin Buu revives and Goku convinces Vegeta to stop fighting because there's something more important. Vegeta seems to accept but ends up knocking out his rival from behind because the prince's pride is stronger. He recognizes this is his fault, and in the prince's words,
"We'll finish this fight when I return, Kakarot. Enjoy your sleep."
Meanwhile, Gohan tries to stop the monster's resurrection, attacking with everything he has, but it's not enough. Buu quickly defeats Dabura, Kaioshin and Gohan, with the characters assuming Gohan is dead and Piccolo paralyzed as his son is dead. Vegeta arrives just in time, and yes, he's the one who offers Buu the greatest challenge, knowing he cannot defeat him, and after being saved by Trunks, The prince knows what he must do. He tells his son to take care of Bulma, giving him a hug he never gave even as a baby, because his pride always came first. His goal was always to defeat Goku, not anyone else, but now for the first time Vegeta renounces his pride to be noble. After knocking out Goten and Trunks, he tells Piccolo to take them far away, which he accepts, fully understanding what it means. Before leaving, Vegeta asks if he will see his old rival in the afterworld, but when Piccolo says no, due to the atrocities he committed in the tournament, the prince only makes a small gesture. Even knowing he won't see Goku on the afterworld, he decides to sacrifice himself for the good of his family and the entire planet. The ruthless Saiyan who once came to Earth to kill its inhabitants now sacrifices himself for them, saying goodbye once more to the people most important to him.
Bulma, Trunks, I do this for you, Kakarot.
The direction and art in this sequence are breathtaking, with subtle sparkles and freezing the final frame of his smile, immortalizing it in the memory of all who watch. This marked the end of Vegeta and the conclusion of his redemption arc. Unfortunately, Buu and Babidi survive, making the prince's sacrifice only serve to give his friends some time to escape. Then Bulma uses the Dragon Balls to wish that all the people killed in the tournament come back to life. This creates a problem because Goku had planned to use them in case something went wrong. For this reason, they cannot use the Dragon Balls for 4 months, which is a good way to remove them temporarily, increasing the tension because anyone who dies now cannot be revived instantly. Next, Goku introduces the concept of fusion, promising that with this technique they can defeat Majin Buu. The only candidates are Goten and Trunks, but they don't want to be trained by someone who let Vegeta and Gohan die. Another conflict is presented. Babidi telepathically communicates with the world to locate Goten, Trunks and Piccolo. Here returns the overweight woman I mentioned earlier, because she reveals Trunks' location, which is a problem since the Dragon Radar is nearby. Trunks must get it before Buu destroys the city, and Goku volunteers to distract the enemy so the boy has a chance to arrive in time. Although it might not seem like it, our protagonists are enough intelligence to realize that the only way to entertain a being like Majin Buu is to fight, and the only way to fight of his level is using what he had kept in reserve. This is when Super Saiyan Phase 3 is introduced. As Goku begins to gather energy in a golden flash, we see the earth shaking violently and the seas raging uncontrollably, as if this immense power is distorting space and gravity around him. Additionally, Babidi allows humanity to witness the fight in their minds, so we feel as we are there, as if we are witnessing something great, something important. His hair grows even longer, a pained expression on his face. Suddenly everything behind Goku darkens. We enter his mind through his eyes and see him as a baby, as if amid so much power he could find peace. At that moment he explodes. Slowly the camera reveals a more muscular Goku with much longer hair and eyebrows covered in muscle, accompanied by a far more intimidating gaze than we have ever seen. This is Super Saiyan 3, and thus begins the battle against Buu, which lasts as long as it takes Trunks to find the Dragon Radar. Once he completes his task, Goku reverts ready to leap, and first thing that the monster does when Goku leaps is kill the evil wizard. freeing himself from anyone's control. Later, speaking with Piccolo, Goku confesses he doesn't know if he could have defeated Buu, and even if he could, he couldn't have, because he understands that he's dead, and it's not the duty of the dead to solve the problems of the living. He's no longer on Earth to protect it, and assuming Gohan is dead, he decides to inspire Goten and Trunks to do it instead. This shows Goku's maturity. He's not a reckless fighter who risks lives just for fun. If he were, he could have fought and defeated Majin Buu himself, but our character has grown. Before leaving for the other world, since Super Saiyan 3 consumes a tremendous amount of energy while alive, he teaches the boys the fusion technique. Now they actually want to learn from him because they admire the immense power he demonstrated. However, they want to see the transformation one more time, and Goku agrees, as he has little time left anyway. This inspires the boys and becomes the motivation for Gotenks to eventually master his transformation. Goku says goodbye to Goten, a heartfelt hug marking their first and last interaction, before returning to the other world, leaving everything in Piccolo's hands. I love Piccolo's role as a teacher, not only because he has always been my favorite character, but also because we can see how much he has changed since training Gohan in the Saiyan saga. Before, he was aggressive, strict, and insensitive. Now he's like a grandfather, more patient and calm, but still retains his strong character, not hesitating to yell at the kids when they fail to follow orders or grasp the gravity of the situation, giving Piccolo a teaching role as a smart choice, as it allows him to remain a narratively significant character without simply removing him from the story. Once fusion is introduced, he ensures the boys learn it, train and rest. Meanwhile, Majin Buu, without anyone to give orders, spends his time destroying cities and killing people for fun, demonstrating he's the embodiment of evil, or perhaps not. At one point, Buu encounters a blind child and is surprised when he doesn't run away. He restores the child's vision and the child hugs him, crying because it's the first time he can see. As a gesture of thanks, the child gives Buu the only coin he had to buy milk, but seeing that he cannot consume it himself, Buu transforms someone into milk to give to the hungry child, who becomes even more grateful, ignoring the fact that this child never knew he accidentally ate another human. It's a very touching and interesting moment because, unlike Frieza or Cell, Buu's innocence saves him, leading him to perform an act of kindness. Later, Mr. Satan discovers Majin Buu's good side, but since Buu suppresses his evil side, it separates from his body, taking most of his powers and absorbing the fat side, leaving the dark side in control. It heads straight to Kami's temple to fight Goten and Trunks. Since the boys had not yet mastered fusion, Piccolo sends them to the hyperbolic time chamber to finish their training, while he distracts the monster, asking it to wait, and later leading it around the temple, angering Buu, who destroys it instantly inside. Even the powerful fusion seems ineffective against Buu, knowing that Gotenks is not using all his power. Besides gaining tremendous strength, this fusion also highlights the boys in maturity and Saiyan pride. For this reason, Piccolo destroys the entrance to the time chamber as a last resort, planning to remain trapped with the monster and die, so that they can be revived later, and Buu remains imprisoned in that dimension forever, another act that demonstrates both Piccolo's maturity and intelligence. The problem is Buu escapes and kills everyone in the temple. Gotenks uses his Super Saiyan 3 transformation to fight anyway, gaining a slight advantage, but due to his immature and overconfidence, his time at full power runs out, leaving our characters on the ropes once more. The last hope of Earth is gone, and just when all seems lost, a great power approaches at full speed. When Gohan was presumed dead, it was because no one could sense his ki. Being at the brink of death, he was transported to the planet of the Supreme Kai. Seeing Gohan's immense power, the Kaioshin was surprised and said that had he known earlier, he could have tried another method. So when they found him, they taught him to use the secret weapon, the Sea Sword. A sword so powerful that, in the words of the Kaioshin himself, if Majin Buu is cut by it, he cannot regenerate, but it had been stuck in a rock for centuries, and only someone with immense power like Gohan could pull it out. He had to train with it since it was incredibly heavy. Eventually the sword breaks, freeing the Supreme Kai from 15 generations ago, who can awaken all of Gohan's hidden power in a ritual that could take a few hours. Toriyama had wanted to remove Goku from the spotlight for a long time. Originally giving Goku a son was not a random decision. The author intended to pass the protagonism to him. Eventually, having Gohan trained with his father's rival creates a strong contrast between the two. Goku was trained by his kind grandfather, while Gohan, naturally timid, had to train with someone violent and aggressive, but through this he could touch his heart. On Namek he became very strong, even causing problems for Frieza at one point. When Goku could eventually die, Gohan was to protect Earth. However, Shonen Jump said no, and Toriyama had to improvise much of the Cell Saga, even changing the antagonist 3 times. Still, he tried to achieve his original goal, that Goku could sacrifice himself to save Earth, and that Gohan could defeat Cell. For this reason, at the beginning of the Buu Saga, Gohan is the protagonist. His relationship with Videl, the struggles caused by his lack of training due to being a calm person, and the pressure he faced when his father was revived. Even the fact that the Asian Supreme Kai awakened his hidden power is significant. Something that always characterized Gohan is that, despite his personality, whenever he became angry, he could awaken incredible power, which now he can control perfectly without carrying all that rage. This is why the mystic or ultimate state is best for him. He doesn't need to get angry or transform, because this is who Gohan truly is. Before leaving, he says goodbye to his father, who is also on that planet. Goku gives him some heartfelt last words.
I wish I could have been there, you know? To watch you grow into the man you've become. I guess this is the last time I'll get to see you. Or at least until you join me here one day. Good luck, son. Give Buu exactly what he deserves.
I will.
Gohan flies off to confront Majin Buu, marking the peak of his protagonism and narrative weight. Gohan's fight is unique because it is the first in which Majin Buu actually receives a beating and is cornered to the point of acknowledging that he cannot win. The choreography consists of powerful strikes that feels extremely connected. The combination of sound effects, camera shakes, and animation elasticity makes every hit feel painfully real. Interestingly, the movie fusion of Goku and Vegeta is used as a reference. If Gohan hadn't defeated Buu, Goku and Vegeta could have been dead, and take good fuse in that world to form Gogeta and fight Janemba. Aware of the situation, Majin Buu pretends to self-destruct so the others can escape and buy time for the fusion to be performed. He succeeds in absorbing them, starting to severely beat Gohan, who, alongside Mr. Satan and Dende, nearly dies if it were were not for the arrival of Tianxin Han. I really like the form Buu takes after absorbing Gotenks and Piccolo because it shows that he not only gains their powers but also Gotenks' overconfidence and Piccolo's intelligence, allowing him to maximize his strength without wasting time. He even gains eloquence, able to explain in detail how he came up with his strategies. Seeing no other option, the ancient Supreme Kai sacrificed his life to Goku so he can fight for Earth using the Potara earrings that allowed instantaneous unlimited fusion at the cost of remaining in that form forever. Back on Earth, the plan to fuse with Gohan fails, leaving only Vegeta as an option. The Supreme Kai allowed him to revive, seeing that the situation with Buu was worsening. However, the prince refuses to fuse because he knows Goku lied to him during their fight by not using Super Saiyan 3. The only thing that makes him reconsider is knowing that his son has been absorbed and his wife killed. At this point they put on the earrings and the powerful Vegeta is born, creating a perfect pre-climax. Vegeta represents all the confidence, arrogance and pride a fusion can embody with power and match, making him the strongest character we've seen in the series. His design is simple but effective. Goku's clothes with inverted colors, predominantly Vegeta blue, along with Vegeta's gloves and boots. His hair is spiky like Vegeta's but with Goku's forehead locks. A perfect combination. In the manga Vegeta starts as Super Saiyan but in the anime he plays with his enemy before going serious, which I think works well. If Gohan's fight was the first time we saw Buu in serious trouble, this is the first time we see him trapped, and Buu's desperation is entirely new for the audience. Seeing Vegeta toy with him, using tricks and teasing him, irritates and scares the monster more and more. The fight becomes incredibly creative. Buu uses kamikaze ghosts to trap Vegeta, or the powerful fusion creates a giant energy sword, showing that their power goes beyond punches and energy blasts. Even when Vegeta is turned into chocolate, he still manages to beat Buu, forcing him to return Vegeta to normal. It's undeniable one of the most spectacular and visually stunning battles in the series, with a sense of security because we feel Vegeta cannot lose. That is until he allows himself to be absorbed to free his friends. Once inside Buu's stomach, the fusion ends. In one hand, this is good because losing Goku and Vegeta individually could be a problem, and it's satisfying to see more interactions between the two, such as Vegeta destroying the earrings due to pride and past deception by his rival. On the other hand, it's not so good because now they have no way to defeat Majin Buu. After rescuing their absorbed friends, Buu's power decreases and he tries to kill them inside his body. Vegeta proves once more to be clever when the monster worries about his older version, removing it and escaping while the enemy undergoes another transformation. With their friends unconscious, the Saiyans feel more confident until the monster takes the form of a child and destroys the planet, leaving our protagonist unable to prevent it, saving only Mr. Satan, Dende and, well, Gohan, Goten, Trunks and Piccolo die. With the only heroes left alive on the sacred planet and Majin Buu searching for them, the story approaches its climax and the decisive act begins. Now both Goku and Vegeta prefer to fight separately, since Buu is neither fused nor has absorbed anyone else. It shows that at the end of the day, despite the critical circumstances, they are still warrior class Saiyans. The battle begins with incredible choreography. We rarely see Goku delivering so many knees, kicks and elbows with a sense of force and impact similar to Gohan's fight. He also dodges with the camera moving with him. It's clear that Goku is not playing around. His expressions show that he is now fighting for the good of the universe. At this point, the prince has an internal monologue explaining the story from his perspective, shattered him and made it his goal to defeat him. But over time he understood that Goku's strength was not to surpass enemies, it was to protect his friends, and Vegeta feels the same responsibility. Vegeta, who had already completed his redemption arc through sacrifice, now accepts himself fully, becoming a complete character. Instead of feeling jealous of Goku's strength, he chooses to support his friend and says,
Hang in there, Kakarot. You are number 1.
The battle continues. Goku, increasingly exhausted, he says he could defeat Buu if he had a minute, so Vegeta offers to distract the monster while Goku recovers. An important factor in this fight is that it's presented as a major event. Not only is the universe at stake, but the Supreme Kais and Dende, the god of Earth, are watching. The Kaioshins in the spirit world are watching as well. Even all the villains previously defeated, currently against Goku. But most important, we the audience are watching too. It doesn't stop there. When the monster expels Fat Buu from his body because he can't harm Mr. Satan, this Majin Buu fights him. Vegeta asks Goku how many times he has saved Earth, saying now it's time for humans to act for their planet. Using his strategic skills, Vegeta devises a plan to defeat Majin Buu with the powerful Spirit Bomb. With the Namekian Dragon Balls, they restore Earth and revive the people who were killed. Gohan and the others immediately understand what's happening. Using the Kaioshin's telepathy, they communicate with humans to raise their hands and help defeat Buu. But the people refuse, not trusting the unknown voice, thinking it could be another trick from Babidi. Vegeta pleads with them, but no one acts. Even when Goku speaks, only a few old characters like Lange, Android 17 and some of the original Dragon Ball cast lend their energy, but it's still not enough. Humans must protect their own planet. Then the true hero of Earth speaks, Mr. Satan.
What's wrong with you ingrates? Can't you lend us a hand?
A voice everyone knows, a man everyone admires, the true hero of humanity. When Majin Buu was about to destroy humanity, Mr. Satan approached to fight him using obviously useless tricks. Over time, he got to know Buu and came to like him. Initially he was pretending, but unconsciously he taught Buu concepts like friendship, that it's wrong to be feared, not to kill, and even the joy of loving a pet. When some men who had previously killed an elderly couple shoot Buu's dog, Buu gets furious, but it's Mr. Satan who punishes them. Though a liar living of false glory, he's not a bad person. In fact, he is the only one who saw Buu as more than a monster. Mr. Satan rallies all of Earth to lend their energy to Goku to save the universe. Even once the Spirit Bomb is ready, they can't launch it because Vegeta would die from the attack, but Satan saves him so Goku can finish Majin Buu. Here, Toriyama delivers a subtle message. Goku died at the end of the Cell Saga to leave Gohan to protect Earth because he was born on it. When Goku returns for the tournament, he realizes he could have defeated Majin Buu but didn't, because it's not his duty to handle the world's problems. That's why he teaches fusion to Goten and Trunks. Vegeta comes up with the idea to use the humans' energy for the Spirit Bomb, but they only accept it when hearing someone like themselves, otherwise everything would have been lost. Toriyama is saying that we, humanity, must solve our own problems. This message gains strength as we become participants in the battle. Every child at home raises their hands in front of the TV to lend their energy to Goku, because the only way to achieve something so grand is by working together to save the world. At the climax, Goku launches the spirit bomb at Buu, but the monster resists and reflects it back. All the elements converge in tension until Vegeta remembers the third wish, allowing Goku to recover energy and push the spirit bomb again. Despite Goku's nature of never wanting to kill his opponents, he hopes that this villain, despite all the harm he caused and hardship he brought, can be reborn as a good person. This marks the end of Majin Buu. Goku slowly descends exhausted from the battle, and Vegeta struggles to lift himself off the ground. The eternal rivals now greet each other as friends after saving the universe. Dende heals them, and as a gesture, Goku has Vegeta healed first, since he was more injured. Mr. Satan discovers that Buu's good side is still alive. Vegeta is ready to exterminate it to prevent future danger, but Mr. Satan, a mere human, stands in front of him, terrified to protect his friend, and Goku lets him live, sensing he's no longer a threat. They decide to return to Earth to eat and sleep a lot, in Goku's words. We see some lovely interactions. Everyone reunites at Kami's lookout. Goku takes a bath with Goten and Trunks, Bulma's party and Trunks visiting Gohan. Goten trains with Goku and the little Pan is introduced. Goku's role as a grandfather is one of the sweetest parts of the series ending. Though he was not the greatest father, he is an excellent grandfather, sharing moments with his granddaughter, who is very much like him, with the same spirit of innocence and adventure. Finally, the last martial arts tournament is held, introducing Up, Buu's reincarnation. Goku, aware of this, fights him to test his skills and take him for training, saying goodbye to everyone and preparing a young warrior to protect Earth when he's no longer there. Many dislike this ending, but I think it works perfectly. Goku has always been a warrior in search of adventure as a Saiyan, now leaving to train his successor. The reincarnation of evil makes perfect sense. With that, the video ends. Don't forget to support my content by subscribing and liking, as making these long videos requires a lot of effort. Bye!